also, though, need to look at the overall picture of immigration in this country, because that we can have an argument about numbers, and it's a legitimate argument. But I think we also need to stand back and look at the overall picture, which is statistically, an immigrant to this country from anywhere, if they are given for 1 year the help that is necessary to integrate, et cetera, within a year, they are self-sufficient. And if you look at the big picture of immigration in the United States, the immigrant population is a contributor to the U.S. economy and not a suck on the U.S. economy. You know, 150 years ago, it was don't let in the Jews, don't let in the Polish, don't let in the Irish. And there's a lot of that same kind of racism that is going on today. So we have to ask ourselves, it's one thing to have a conversation about the numbers and the overwhelm, but it has, to me, now leaned over into a mean-spirited attitude towards immigrants, which is not in keeping with the better angels of our nature. Where did your great-grandparents come from? I mean, all four of my grandparents came here seeking to escape oppression. What about yours? None of you are descended from enslaved people.
I am.
Or from indigenous people. Are you?
I'm part Korean.
Well, but not by the United States. They were not enslaved by the United States.
But my family was persecuted during World War II with Japanese internment because they didn't care for the difference between different types of Asian people. So my family was forced to flee and hide, and my mom's side of the family, which was mixed race, had to pretend like they weren't actually related because it was illegal at the time because of miscegenation laws. And so the stories I grew up hearing was my family fled 12 different states once people found out that it was a mixed race family, you know, pre-1967, and would be spit on by people for being what they would call Japs, despite the fact that I am part Japanese, but mostly Korean. So that is a component, and not to say that we're descendant from American slave or anything like that.
But my point is, so your family found safety and asylum and a better life in the United States, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So isn't there a moral responsibility that those of us who are descended from people, like your parents, like my grandparents, who found that, we don't have a moral responsibility to make sure that others experience that blessing as well?
Because there's a whole lot of people in the world like that. If we have a moral responsibility to some, wouldn't that mean we have a moral responsibility to the world?
Yes.
And then that's a moral responsibility to everybody on Earth?
No, not everybody's trying to come here.
But
would even want to come here.
I imagine there's a lot of people that want to. That
but I think the answer is yes.
Legal immigration. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, sorry. I was going to agree. I believe the answer is yes. However, it has to be legal, right? We right now, I think your view on we must treat the symptoms. There's a lot of symptoms, and I can respect absolutely. I question when we give money to these South American and Central American countries, and their oligarchs and their autocrats steal the money, and it doesn't help the people at all, and exacerbates violence, the drug war, all that stuff.
Absolutely.
I want to treat that, but then there is another issue. The American citizens of Eagle Pass are suffering. And I don't believe it would be appropriate to just say, we will provide no reprieve for you in the immediate because we're dealing with larger issues internationally.
But wait a minute, what you just said, I was just in Eagle Pass. Go down to Eagle Pass, because I think you might be surprised by the stories that you hear from the people there. You know, I grew up in Texas. I grew up in Houston. People had been walking back and forth, Mexico and Texas, literally for centuries.
Yeah.
Literally for centuries. And the people in Eagle Pass that I spoke to absolutely know how these processing centers could work, how the medical could work. It could be set up very differently than it is. And the people in Eagle Pass are the ones who would know what to do.